welcome you with a smile, but I also welcome you with a huge thank you from my heart for being amazing teachers and educators through this very long and challenging year. Again, as a former teacher and having many current teacher friends here in my neighborhood and state, it has been, I want to recognize the many challenges that you have been meeting in your country for these many months. I'm going to ask you to actually come online on the chat, if you would, for just a few seconds. And I would like you to think about the past year, so from 2020 to now. But would you take just a moment, and I would love to see if there is something that you learned maybe about yourself, or something that you completed or finished on. Maybe you had a to-do list during the lockdowns. So can you get your fingers ready and go on the chat? And on the chat, just send me a very quick word or two. Something that you learned maybe about yourself, or something that you actually finished. That may have been some more reading, that may have been learning how to do a certain craft, that may have been baking some more. Any ideas? Anyone like to? I'm just checking my chat line here. Well, I see that some of you, again, have also sent me some private messages as well. So again, what I'm seeing, but patience, learning to do a different exercise activity, someone doing more reading, someone was doing more baking. Yes, thank you. Giving yourself some time to just have some quiet time and to reflect, and to just sometimes be more resilient. I'm seeing things coming in that you're finding ways to create things. Maybe looking at different ways to approach your students, different kinds of strategies to use with students, especially as we have met the students online so much. Yes, absolutely. Learning more about technology integration and how to connect with students. How to be a bit more organized, how to be more flexible. How to be more patient, how to watch schedules, maybe when you are allowed to leave your home or not. So thank you. It has been an amazing year for so many people. Well, teachers, through this workshop, I want to share these goals for our time together, taking a closer look at SEL, or social emotional learning, and sharing some ideas for your consideration in the classroom. And I'll be taking a quick closer look at how some of Alpha Publishing's programs support SEL. I want to acknowledge the work of CASEL, or the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, on which this presentation is based, and I recommend that you visit their website for some excellent support on this important topic. I've also used just some personal photos and some other images from Pinterest, just to give you some additional examples as well. I am happy to tell you that those of you who are using our Alpha Reading or our Alpha Literature program, or considering a new program, that social and emotional learning and 21st century skills are presented in many ways through the stories and through student activities of the grade levels from KG to grade 12. But I'll also just be showing you some quick slides sometimes from our Alpha Math program, from our KG 1 and 2 and up through grade 8. That the program is connected to Common Core, but also provides opportunities to actually practice our SEL strategies and certainly our 21st century skills, as well as our Alpha Science program. And Alpha Science is connected to NGSS, the Next Generation Science Standards, but again, it has several ways to connect SEL and 21st century learning. Well, teachers, I don't know about you, but these were some of the faces that I saw in my classroom when I was teaching language arts in Colorado, and I taught grades 3 through 8. These are not the faces that we want to see in our classrooms or in our Zoom meetings. But, you know, like you, across the US, teachers spent so many hours in their homes or later at school, so driving to school and leading their Zoom classes from their classrooms, although there were no students in the rooms, and working so hard to connect with their students. I have friends at the KG level, at grade 2, grade 5, grade 8, that have told me so many stories about preparing students for these new days and this new style of learning, preparing lessons, helping parents to help their children, and honestly worrying about their students every week, especially when children did not have computers or internet at home. And that surprises a lot of teachers who are overseas. They think that every child in the US has laptops and has computers, and every home is connected to the internet. But that's not true. And here in my neighborhood, hundreds, and in my state, thousands of students did not have computers at home. They did not have internet. Families cannot afford it. Or if they did, interesting that children would refuse to use their cameras because they were too ashamed of what their homes looked like. They didn't want teachers looking into their homes. So incredibly challenging, incredibly frustrating. And I know you did an incredible job of supporting those students every day, all year long. I know that some of you already have the students back in your classroom, and they may be there already. Here in Eugene, Oregon, we had our kindergarten through grade 2 students return on the 15th of March. So they've just been, our KG through grade 2 have just been back in school for 4 weeks. But our high school students are not there yet. Our middle school students, our high school students are still fully online. So again, but the teachers were so ready for them. I wanted to share this door that I saw, actually, I believe it was in Dubai, and I took a photo of it, and I loved what this teacher of this classroom was saying to her students as they entered her class for the very first time that year. I loved the way that she had confidence in them, knowing that they were already scientists, readers, writers, even the tiny ones in KG who would be learning how to read and write. I loved the way that she considered them as a learning family and ready to work together for a great year. And that's all part of social emotional learning, opening the door to success, working with a positive and supportive mindset, and finding some joy and success in learning. Look at these two brain scans. You know, I know that we want those tired faces or those frightened faces to turn into smiles. And we know that part of our work as teachers is to fire up the brains of our students. And that is so hard when we are online. But we really want to light up the brain waves to help make connections and to help students see success every day in the classroom. On the left-hand side is a brain scan. The students are not connected, they're not thinking, their minds are not fired up, and you can see the dark spaces. But when you are working with social emotional learning, when you are making connections, so really combining the academic side with social and emotional learning, you really fire up the learning. But also with SEL, we also turn to those 21st century skills as well. Now, we know that these 21st century skills are so important. Some of you on this webinar already know about the 4 C's, the 4 C's that are so important at every grade. And I want you to look at my slide. So teachers, or my attendees there, my friends, could I have you look at this slide and find one of the 4 C's and type that into the chat box. Look for one of the 4 C's and type that into the chat box. Great. Great. I'm seeing communication. I'm seeing creativity. Wonderful. Critical thinking. And what's the last one? Excellent. Perfect. Perfect. If you found these 4, great job. And you did. Great job, folks. So these have been identified as a strong focus for learning every day in many ways in the classroom. But I also want to add one more C to weave into our 21st century skills, and that is caring. So we want to weave these C's, but along with the C of caring for social and emotional learning, because that will really make a difference. So when I'm talking about the C of caring, I'm talking about cultivating a sense of belonging and community in your classroom, that working with that family of learners. Students, maybe if you are working with a hybrid model, so you have students in with you now, or some of you maybe have not started, but providing a little space and time and letting students take those baby steps in their return. To honestly give yourself and your colleagues some space and time, and to maybe share some of the load, share some of the joys, because this has been a very crazy, challenging year. So taking care of yourself as well. Still provide ways to create and cultivate or connect ways of working with students and parents. And we know that we need to create structures for physical safety in the classroom. these days, because of the cleanliness features and such. I have to tell you, again, I found this online. I loved what these very creative teachers did when they returned to their kindergarten class in Florida. And you can see, they wanted the children to feel welcome. They did not want it to be so frightening. So they turned the desks into cars. And then the children had to learn to keep their distance between the cars and each other. You can see some of the plastic. They had the plexiglass glass on three sides of the desk. They had to wear their mask whenever they left their car. So I thought that was actually kind of cute. And I must tell you, last Saturday, I actually walked to my local elementary school just up the street from me, and I took these photos. These were on the fence. So when you look at the school, there was the fence. And on the fence, I just took some photos. There were about 30 of them, but I loved, "We have missed you." That happy return. It's McCormick Elementary School, but the first week of school was the week of March 15th. Here's one that a student did, and I'm laughing. If you can look at what he wrote, I don't know, a bird. The mascot is a bee, so I get that, but I like that. "Welcome back from boredom, people." And then you had "Be safe." Again, their mascot is the bumblebee. It's like the busy bee, big learning. I like this one. "School is amazing." It's not spelled correctly, but I love the thought. And look at what's on below. "When it's not online." School is amazing. Again, another little welcome that children were drawing and coloring. I love this. We are grateful. We are grateful, I think, to be back to school. "You are super cool." And this one, I think, was done by a parent. And again, I loved it. On the fence. "In case no one told you today, you are a great teacher." I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So a warm welcome back. I also like to think about a caring classroom through this ABC approach. So students need the opportunity, sometimes through instruction, to be in control, to actually make decisions about what they want to learn and how they can learn. So does this mean that they get to run the classroom? Absolutely not. But it is about valuing their ideas, and when appropriate, to give them a choice and a voice, and helping them become more confident about sharing ideas. Sharing learning goals and process. In B, helping them to feel like they belong, that they are part of a learning family and learning skills so that they can contribute to the classroom. And in competence, students need to feel like they're making progress, like they are learning new things, just like you and I grew in competence. We learned that we could be more patient, more flexible. We could challenge ourselves. We learned more about technology. We learned how to do yoga. We learned how to bake bread or such. And so we were in control, but we also learned that we could grow ourselves. Well, what is SEL? Our students will learn great content and skills, but students who experience social and emotional learning activities in the classroom can also become more independent in their learning and more confident in their learning. And as I said, as the teacher, you provide that door to success that opens even wider, because you are teaching not only things to learn, but teaching them how to learn in the classroom and how to experience the world around them. So you are teaching them how to grow and to mature as learners, along with reading, writing, math, social studies, and more. And so what are some of the benefits for including social emotional learning in your class? Well, as a teacher, I know you bring in common sense activities, you use best practices. But as you can see on this slide, you make a difference right now, each and every day. And as students move through grade levels, whether I know I have some KG teachers here online, but as they move through grade levels to graduation, you are making a real difference to their future. You are having an impact on their work readiness, on their income, and on the ways that they contribute as a citizen to their country. Well, here's the big idea for SEL, social emotional learning. Looking at the outside circle, in the home and in the community, and then into the school and finally into your classroom. These are the 5 major areas of SEL: self-awareness and self-management. So focusing on the individual students to grow in understanding and growing in self-confidence. Social awareness and relationship skills help students connect more deeply with their classmates and community. And finally, decision-making provides skills to set goals and to take action through life activities. So do you have to change the way that you might be teaching this year or next year? No, because in fact, I'm sure you're doing many SEL and 21st century skills already. But you know, what's important is being more aware of what you are doing in the classroom. So give yourself credit. And I hope when I share something through the presentation that you say, Sharon, I already do that in my classroom. That's great. For my other educator friends today, you might say, that's a good idea. I'm going to try that, because it means that you are weaving SEL and 21st century skills into your classroom and daily activities. So let's step into that first area. The first one of self-awareness. What does that mean? Well, here you're helping the students know more about themselves and how they fit into the family and their community. You're helping them see what makes them unique and special. You're helping them grow in their learning. You already do many interesting activities, I'm sure, to welcome the children or the students and learn more about them. And I'm sure that especially this year, helping students to share feelings and emotions, because again, it has been frustrating. Some students I know here in my state were actually almost afraid to return to school. They loved it, but they were nervous, worried about going back into school and seeing people, meeting friends that they haven't met all year long. Again, I'm sure you do some of these activities at the beginning to help students share information about themselves. I'm sure you have great activities already in hand. But here are some other critical thinking, creative thinking ideas. On the left is more of a puzzle activity that a teacher used in grade 2. So you can see all about me and a little bit more about this girl. So she made this into like a little puzzle that the student would fill out, then they would cut up, and then they could share at home or with a classmate. The I Can board allows students to share something that they can do right away. So from the first day, what's something that they are proud of that they can do when they first come to school, no matter how small? Maybe they can sing a song. Maybe they can say the first 3 letters of the alphabet. And the other two photos are some photos from a grade 7 class. This 7th grade teacher did this on the second day of school. They made an envelope time capsule. So on each envelope was their name and a photo of the student. So here for privacy, I put dots. So just for their privacy, you're not seeing the face or the name. And then on the paper, they put a footprint. Now again, if that's culturally appropriate, but this teacher here had the students trace their foot on paper, and then they drew on it. And then they made a handprint, a thumbprint, and they wrote some things about themselves. Then they folded up the paper, put it into an envelope, and that stayed with the teacher until the last week of school. And at the last week of school, the teacher gave those back to the students, and the students were amazed to see how they had changed in looks and their interests and such. Some teachers do a stand and sit activity or online. So when they first join the school, the class might be there. So stand up if you have a pet, then sit down. Stand up if you play an instrument, sit down. Stand up if you play a sport, or like that. So stand up, sit down, so that they're seeing each other. If you are online, you could do the raised hand emoji. So, raise up the hand, click down. If I'm working with older students, I might have them do a finish my sentence. Not everyone. I might choose 3 or 4. If you are back in your classroom, a fun little activity might be name and motion. Students would stand in a circle. Each person says their name and makes a motion. So one person starts. So I might say, my name is Sharon. I love to travel. And again, I would put my hands out and pretend I'm an airplane. And the person next to me would say, she is Sharon. She loves to travel. My name, and would add. So my name is, let's say, Danielle. I like to whatever. I like to watch movies, and would make a thing. And then her name is Sharon. She likes to travel. Her name is Danielle. She likes to watch movies. His name is Mazen. He likes to eat pizza. And then you go around the circle. If someone forgets, they ask for help and they thank the classmate. In doing that small action, you're working with social emotional learning. Sometimes you're also working with understanding emotions. And I took this from Pinterest, but there are posters. I thought this one was cute so that very young students can point to faces and learn words, but checking in on emotions. With older students, maybe talking about movies or characters from stories. I want you, if you would like to send me a message or just to think about, is there one emotion that describes something that you felt either deeply or, sometimes during the quarantine or stay-at-home demands? Again, you're welcome to put that to everyone or to send me a private message, but if you would enter into the chat box, but recognizing an emotion that you may have had or an emotion you currently have, as we're now halfway through April, and we are in the month of Ramadan and such as well. Thank you. Those of you who are just letting me know privately, yes, I'm seeing words like, again, just worn out. I'm seeing disconnected. I'm seeing frustrated. So I'm seeing relaxed. Interesting. Very interesting. With selections in our Alpha reading and literature, students have opportunities to read about this very topic, meeting challenges, facing challenges. You're helping them recognize personal strengths and to build confidence. Again, here is a poster that I found online that talks about a positive growth mindset. And again, a great SEL, helping the students learn that it takes work. It takes perseverance. You're going to be frustrated and sometimes have failures in order to grow in personal ways and to look more deeply inside of yourselves. Here in our grade 6 literature book, they learn about courage and how people face frightening times. So you have lots of opportunities to offer ways to have students take a look inside themselves and emotions. Now, a quick activity that I do, and you may also do this, is an I know note. I call it an I know note. So some of you might do a KWL chart. What I know, what I want to know, what I learned. So that's a way to have students share with you what's already inside of them. What do they already know? What's already in their heads? But in the past with my students, I would do an I know note. So self-awareness, what do you already know? Like what makes a good friend? Or what do you know about hibernation? Or what do you already know about symmetry? Or what does symmetry mean? And you give them a sticky note or a piece of paper, have them write something down that's already in their head, and you are connecting critical thinking, collaboration, communication. You're giving them a voice and a choice and sharing with you what's already in their heads. You're helping them be aware, self-aware. And then I have them bring that up to the front of the class. And if it's a sticky note, they can put it up on the board. And then as a teacher, it lets you review and see what these students already know. The next section that's so important, especially for young children, self-management and classroom management. We know that effective teachers provide good routines for students. Something happens the same way every day. Students know what is expected. And I think that's important, whether it's in the classroom or online. But effective teachers also provide classroom space and time that's organized and calming, and such. So I like this on my slide here on number 1. Many of you might do this already in your classroom. At number 1 is a morning meeting routine. So you can see rules are reviewed, greetings and activity, news of the day. Every morning, the students, the teacher leads them through this routine. Number 2, a bucket filler or bucket dipper. What do you do? Self-management. What kinds of behaviors do you show in the classroom to fill our learning bucket? Or are there things that you're doing that take things away? Number 3 are emotion cards. Again, if you feel angry, what could you do? In number 4, some teachers have used a STAR routine or a breathing routine. So STAR, smile, take a deep breath, and relax. And some teachers actually teach the students square breathing or box breathing. square breathing or box breathing, and they have the students move their hands. So you inhale for 4 counts, move your hand up, move your hand across hold your breath, move your hand across for 4 counts, then put your hand down and exhale for 4 counts, hold your breath. So inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4, to help focus and to be calm. And finally, in my number 5, having students track their learning. So this keeps self-management on track. Here, a student, as they're learning sight words, circle the words you've learned, use a bar graph. In alpha reading, for example, at the end of units, we have a self-reflection, and we ask students to kind of look back at how they learned and what they learned, and think about it, manage their learning. And our alpha math asks students actually to do a pre and a post. So learning targets, what are the objectives that you work with? And after the unit, then they need to take a look back. How did I do? Did I learn? I can do this. I'm working towards it, and such. But other ways for self-management. In our alpha reading, we have a reading piece called Be a Good Classmate, to be part of a learning family. And I loved what this teacher did for self-management, as well as the 4 C's. Together, the students decided before they moved into their Be a Good Classmate story, that they talked about what they needed to do to manage themselves to be a better learner. And I thought this was cute. So I wanted to show you this picture. And I laughed at the ones on the very bottom. Can you look all the way at the bottom? I thought this was cute for little grade 1s, but no kissing, and keep feet to yourself. But what a great way to do collaboration, communication, creative thinking, and critical thinking. So teachers, when you offer stories about setting goals and accomplishing them, or sharing stories about people who wanted to do something special, made a plan, and accomplished it, then you are bringing in social emotional learning. Here's from our alpha literature. So reaching for our dreams. If you have a dream, what can we do to make our dreams come true? And then the lesson plan is going to work with a discussion. So what is a goal? And then what do you need to do in order to accomplish that? To manage your time, to manage your activity. And sometimes even in something like your math program, or I would say with the alpha math program, students learn to manage through strong routines and step-by-step instruction. It helps keep things comfortable. So in your math program, if it's alpha math, you have a very strong step-by-step process, because then students know the learning routine. So those of you using other math programs or science programs, take a look. So even your content instruction can support that self-management. A quick activity, 1-word whip around. After reading a story or several selections, you ask the students to choose one word as a response. So if we've read Reaching for Our Dreams, or different people, different places, whatever, you ask them to give one word, similar to what I asked you to. Is there a word, one emotion, or a word that captured our COVID time? And then you provided words to me privately. But imagine if you kind of went around the circle after you've read stories about meeting challenges. That takes focus. The next section is social awareness. So in the first two areas were self-awareness and self-management. But here you're going to help students move from the me to the we. Okay, from me to we. You're helping them to be open to accepting and learning about others, especially those that may look different or have different abilities, be part of a different culture, and more. So whether in the classroom or online lessons, you're helping students celebrate how people are the same or how they are different. So think about what you are already doing in the classroom. Some teachers use a kindness tree. So that's on the left, two photos that I took. So at the end of a day, the teacher asks if someone has shown a kindness, helped someone else, moving from me to the we, helped a classmate, and then they might say something, Noor helped me put away the materials, or Mazen picked up the book that I dropped. So then they add this as a leaf to the tree. I've been in classrooms where teachers keep a very small photo on a magnet, as you can see here, and then it's on like a large pizza pan or a metal, it's a metal baking sheet. And then when the students gather in the morning, this is more for KG, then students who are absent are put in the middle in the heart, just to let them know that they will be missed, that their classmates care. Again, it's moving from the me to the we. Here with our alpha reading, again, and in a program you may be currently using, many ways to read about stories. In this unit of helping one another, there's a story about about helping each other. And there, of course, are online videos with alpha reading and literature. And there is a short video about this young man who invented a computer program to track wildlife and such. So we want students to realize that other students their age, even on another continent, are accomplishing great things. They are moving from the me to the we. One quick classroom activity that I've done is, I call it Go Go Mo. I call it Go Go Mo. And here it's give one, get one, move on. Go, G-O, G-O-M-O. You can see on my slide, after we have worked with a story or maybe a unit, I give them a piece of paper. I have them fold the paper into fourths. I have them write. Now this is an example, but I learned, I liked, new word, I think. Then they tear the paper into the 4 pieces. Okay, so now they have 4 pieces of paper. Then I ask the students to get up and they mingle, and I let them mingle for 5 seconds, maybe 7 seconds. And I'll say, stop, go, 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 go. And so they partner up, and the student gives their partner one of the 4 pieces. And that person gives, the 2 partners exchange 1 piece and they talk about it. I give them maybe 30 seconds. Then I say, whoa, move on. I let them mingle another 5. They meet with someone else and they share a second, and then they do it again, and then finally 4 times. So they just exchange the papers, but it gets them moving from their reading, from their thoughts, from the me to the we. I want to know what you thought about the book. I want to hear what you have to say. Other activities, having students get up and being like a human bar graph. So what do you think? And join your classmates, socially distanced if necessary, to show what you have learned. In my class, though, I also like the think, ink, pair, square, and share. Students first work alone, so they move from the me. They move from the me to the we. So I might ask a question or a prompt. What are 3 things that make a good friend? So students need to think. Okay, the me, they think. Then I have them ink. I want them to jot those 3 things down. They need to write something down, ink. Then I have them pair with a partner. Now they're moving from me to we. The 2 of them share what was on their paper. Then I want them to square, join another partner, pair. So now they go from 2 to 4. Okay, pair, square. Then we're going to share as a class. So we are really moving from the me to we. As students grow and mature, we're just helping them see the world around them, different perspectives, different yet the same. I like this activity in Alpha Math, for example, where we look at the flag of Uganda to do fractions. So we look at the flag of Uganda, from the flag of Uganda, but let's then look at some other flags that you may recognize. So let's get them out of that page. Let's kind of share some world connections with the UAE. Did you recognize Italy? Jamaica? This Guyana. This is Guyana. The Seychelles, and the flag of Qatar. So again, having the students look, what's the same? What's different? What's different about the colors and shapes? Why is that the design for the country? What are they trying to show through their flag? With science, sometimes you want, of course you want partner work. And so sometimes a little competition, I call it lingo, learning bingo. And so working with partners, they do like a little tic-tac-toe or a little bingo activity. Relationship skills, yes, students are practicing communicating, collaborating, critical thinking. We want them to become effective team members and to bring in that caring and confidence in the classroom. So we're helping them to, once again, really learn to listen politely, learn how to agree and disagree, and to communicate properly, effectively. So from Pinterest, but I like this, they learn to be polite and respect their classmates. This is a placemat that I found online. I thought it was nice. It puts it right in front of the children. So I can show kindness. I can show respect. And it gives students some words. In terms of being a bit more appropriate for older students, here's another I can listing. So what does it take to meet and greet diverse people, to listen politely, and to know? I love, again, on this slide, having the students practice through partner work, group work. You can see the 2 boys here practicing good eye contact, keeping their hands to themselves in a conversation. I liked what this teacher did on the poster about writing partners. So talk, listen, compliment, ask. I love that routine and the friendly way she models what should happen. Sometimes the best activities are fun. In this case, it's an activity for the students to move the cups from the tower down onto the desk by they each have a string and a rubber band around the cup. It makes them work together. It really builds cooperation and relationship skills. And some of you use different chore charts as well. Teachers, keep in mind that I'm sure in your science programs, again, an example, team projects, they're found in Alpha Science, in Alpha Math, but different kinds of project activities. So working with math and science, 21st century skills, moving from the me to the we, and developing strong relationships to build a spaghetti structure, working together, again, collaborating, communicating, being creative, being critical thinkers. And again, look to stories that you already have in your current program, whatever program that might be. Again, in Alpha Reading here, a full unit on relationships and talking about friendships and what makes a good friendship. And then, of course, videos that students can watch as well to support the topic. One of my favorite activities to support the 4 C's is a classroom book. Again, very nice for young students, but because this works with the 4 C's and relationship skills. Each child contributes a page or an idea. So it really takes teamwork, pride, learning responsibilities. So here is an example of an alphabet book, The F is for fish. So the students came up with, fish. And so they helped the teacher. The teacher did the writing, but the students are coming up with that. So each child contributes an idea, or perhaps a high frequency word book. So once they've learned high frequency words, up, down, in, this is C, again, asking students to contribute a sentence to use the high frequency word, maybe help them to illustrate that page. I love this one. I have this in my book. It's like 22 pages long because each student contributed a page. But this is a repeated sentence book. All by myself, I can walk my cat, but I need a friend to walk with me. All by myself, I can ride my bike, but I need a friend to catch a frog. All by myself, I can read a book, but I need a friend to read it to. I love that one. So there's, again, like 22 pages. The teacher helped do the writing, but the children were illustrating, and they were so proud of their book. And sometimes we really need to talk about current issues, about building our relationships with others. It has been such a challenging year, meeting through Zoom or Teams or other online platforms. When you send a WhatsApp message, when you do see them online, but when do you actually need to be there to share news? News of happiness or news of sorrow. Again, as I mentioned, many students in the US would not turn on their cameras in their homes because they were embarrassed, or they didn't have the laptop, or they didn't show up because they might have to share that laptop with 3 or 4 of their brothers or sisters, or had no internet. So building relationships is hard when you can't travel to see someone, you can't touch them, and when you can't even see them, or they don't allow you to see them online. So again, really some nice discussions there as well. Sometimes it can be something as simple as choosing a vocabulary word to share with classmates. So working alone, working together, choose one word. Again, what was the most important, most interesting, most difficult word to learn? Write that on the front, turn it over, share why you chose that word. So nice activity for that upper primary, maybe grades or even 3 through 12, and then discuss, share, and share with partners and classmates, really sharing ideas about words, feelings, and such. Or letting a child be a word wizard of the day. You pin a keyword to a child, and they, as they move through the day, their classmates are saying, "What's your word?" And the student has to say their word. What does that mean? And they need to explain what the word means. So it's really building a learning family with each other as well. Again, mix and mingle, so just some other activities similar to the go-go-mo, but mix and mingle. Have a question and have the students share. That can be, what's your dream career? What did you do for fun? What do you know about volcanoes? And it's kind of like musical chairs. Inside outside circles. I did this with my classroom in order to review. The students stand up, half the class is inside the circle, half the class is outside the circle. I ask a question, and then students A will tell students B the answer. Then I have students B move, and then I pose the next question. And I might say, B, here is your question. And then the student tells the answer to the person directly across from them. It's a new person. So they're moving inside and outside. I ask a question, they answer. I might say, A's, move 2 steps to the left. Now they're facing a new person, and I ask a question. They answer. B's, take 1 step to the right. I ask a question. So students are moving, but they are communicating, doing critical thinking. It's a great way to do a review. This is what they look like in the classroom, by the way. And the final area of social emotional learning is responsible decision making. So in many ways, you help students become good decision makers, step by step, with lots of support to decide on a course of action. So sometimes that's just giving them a choice from 2 or 3 possibilities, and then have them decide what is best for them. Remember, giving them a choice and a voice. So again, it's about having them identify the problem, evaluate, solve, and think about your choice. Now, this is the usual list of rules that teachers share at the beginning of the year. So I would ask you to consider an alternative. So I have to show you. This is an image of what one 6th grade teacher does every year within the first 3 days of first 3 days of the class, first 3 days of the year. Again, I taught 6th grade, and I know that 6th grade students know what the basic rules are. They don't really need to be told. So what she did is that she asked them to come up as a class with a list of rules, and they usually have 10 or 12. She said they normally list 10 or 12 because they already know them. They've had them since, KG. But then they need to work together. So this is on the 3rd day. Work together, relationship skills, listen politely, agree, disagree. They need to work together to agree to the top 5. But she allowed number 6 this time. And so once they determine those, then look at the bottom, they have to sign the poster. So rather than giving them this, it's like, all right, listed. Now you need to make decisions of the 10 or 12 that we've listed here on the board. You're going to break into groups and decide, we're going to get this together, and you need to come down to the top 5 and then moving on. Again, as with the Alpha publishing, or stories that you already have. stories that you already have, giving students choices, and giving them opportunities to take action. So I'm sure you already have activities. I like how this one teacher provided this very visual model for our decision-making model. Another teacher provided this poster. And when I have done workshops before with literacy, I've made a fold over book, but I've seen teachers use my fold over book activity to really help students think through a decision. And so it's to make a clear decision, consider the problem, list, evaluate, act, and reflect. And I've seen teachers with classes with older students use this as a response to a story where they read about a main character who had to make a big decision or maybe something quite life-changing, and it helped them think through that as well. So you are giving students ways to make decisions or to move through and take action. Again, alpha math with problem solving. I mean, there is a decision work plan. Read and understand, make a plan, carry it out, and check. And with the alpha science, whether you're working, when you are working with example, one of our STEAM projects, but the design process, identify the problem, do research, think of some possibilities, choose one, and then evaluate and redesign. So those of you who might be teaching science or doing these activities, you are doing effective decision, responsible and effective decision making by those types of projects and teamwork activities. Others that you may have done in your classroom, four corners. When students are back in your classroom and they can physically move to four corners, you can have them move to different areas. If you are online, you could put them into 4 breakout rooms, but you might give them a prompt. My example here on my slide, what was the best thing about being quarantined? But send them into breakout rooms if you're online, if that is possible, and then have them talk in their, in their own corners, and then bring them back and share. Another activity that I have done is the picture frame. After students read a selection, they put details about the story in each of the 4 frame pieces, the outside. So they put 4 details in the center. Then I have them get in pairs or groups. So remember, pair and then square. And when they're in the square, they come up with the main idea. What was the main idea, the main takeaway, the big idea for the story? And so the students have to decide. Here are all the details. They need to make a decision. What's the main idea that all 4 of them say, yep, that's it, I agree. And they put that in the middle of the picture. So sometimes just doing very small activities work so well. So how do we move through lessons or through the day and include social and emotional learning? It's really pretty easy. Moving into the lesson, you can do welcoming routines or rituals, morning messages, share a learning goal, share a wow word or a wonder word, one of the key words or just some really interesting one. Activities for inclusion. But again, who's here? Who's ready to learn? Who's missing? Who has something special to share? Moving through a lesson. balancing the time to let students learn alone, but also to learn along with classmates, and making connections to classmates. So by doing that, making sense, making connections, and giving them some brain breaks, great way to keep them actively involved. And then moving beyond, what did you learn today? We don't want to hear them say, nothing. When I would be in the classroom, what did you learn today? Nothing. Not in your classroom. Not in your classroom. Let's, look at a good news closure. In our lesson today, we learned, we're asking the students to tell you what they learned and a way to look forward. What's new for tomorrow? What's coming up tomorrow? Setting the stage for more learning and growth. So teachers, over our time together, I hope you have seen how you can include some of these important pieces of social emotional learning in the classroom, and to weave those with 21st century skills to support your classroom so that the students grow not only with their content, but also with caring and confidence. I hope there may be one or two activities that I shared with you today that you might want to use in your classroom, and to add to the wonderful activities that you already do every day. I always like to close with this poem called The Lesson Plan, because I think this speaks to what we have been facing with our students during this challenging year. And it's called The Lesson Plan. Different kids, different needs. One knows a letter, one really reads. One from a home where all good things grow, one from a painful place no child should know. Some love a story, some love a rhyme, some need to hurry, some need more time. Some let me see, some try to hide. What do they know? What's hidden inside? And I am the teacher who longs to see all that they are and all they can be, a waiting child, a blank lesson plan, and the keys to their kingdom in my hand. Teachers, you make a difference each and every day. You make a difference for each and every child in front of you. So I hope that you've enjoyed our time together and that you have found some benefit from our webinar in your afternoon. Let's have a wonderful remainder of the year. Let's help our students learn and grow in this big, challenging, exciting world. Thank you so much, and I will turn it back to Zaneb.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for the presentation, and thank you everyone for joining us. I would just like to share my screen a little bit just to give you some information about Alpha and to share my details with you as well. Okay, so I would just like to tell you a little bit about Alpha. It is a global publisher. We are doing US K-12 programs, and one of our biggest factor is that we are in a region for a region, meaning that all our programs are defined based on the culture and the heritage that in the country that we are in, as well as, of course, it is 100% aligned to all international standards. So we do cover the Common Core and the next generation science standards for the US programs, as well as the Common European Framework for the ELT programs for English as a second language. So, creating global learners, as you can see, and as Ms. Sharon has shown you across the Some of the examples is that our science, English, and math has local content, meaning that the students will be able to see a variety of examples from the Middle East where they could connect and feel like they are represented in the books, as well as have a global connection where they could learn a lot more about the world around them. So, comprehensive curriculum. English, we are covering K to 12. Our math goes from KG1 up to grade 8. And our science is from grade 1 to grade 8. Our ELT program covers a vast majority that is from A1 up to B2 for different grade levels, of course. So you have our English Leader, Target English, Super English, English Vision, and Pandy and Friends, depending on your student's level, of course, and this covers from KG up to grade 12 as well. Moving on to handwriting. So our new program is a 3-level handwriting program that is, sorry, had to admit someone, yes. So our new program, our new handwriting program is a 3-level program that can be used from KG up to grade 3 according to your student's level. So this also creates differentiation within a classroom as well. And just to finalize that all our programs are there online through our website eAlpha or our mobile platform. It is available on all the devices, whether it is your phone, your tablet, where the students as well as the teachers can access to it in an offline matter as well. So all our books are interactive online with many different resources that are added. Again, I would like to make it quick, so thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me. I will be more than happy to help you, and you will be hearing from us soon regarding the certificates for the webinar. So thank you so much, and thank you for your time. Have a good rest of the day.